The sky over Metro City was a bruise of violet and electric blue, split by the rhythmic, golden pulse of a giant tachyon beacon. High above the chrome spires, Astro Boy soared, his jet boots leaving a shimmering wake. But he wasn't alone. Trailing him was a man with bulging forearms, a pipe clamped firmly in his teeth, and a curious nautical gait even in midair. Popeye the Sailor Man was gripping a makeshift propeller hat, his eyes squinting against the wind. "I don't know what this greatest robot fella is plannin', Astro," Popeye grumbled, his voice like gravel in a blender. "But he's makin', the clouds feel like they've got a headache." Astro Boy's sensors flickered red. "It's Pluto, Popeye. He's been upgraded with a core that draws power directly from the Earth's magnetic field. If he doesn't stop, he'll tear the planet's gravity apart." Suddenly, the air rippled. A black and white blur darted between them, moving with an impossible elastic fluidity. It was Felix the cat, reaching into his magic bag of tricks. He pulled out a giant, oversized umbrella and descended gracefully, spinning in the air like a top. "Need a lift?" Felix purred, his wide grin stretching unnaturally across his face. "I heard there's a mechanical bully trying to turn the world into a scrap heap. I'm a sucker for a good scrap." They landed on the summit of the Earth Defense Laboratory. Before them stood Pluto, a monolith of dark, jagged titanium, his eyes glowing with the cold, calculated anger of a machine designed for pure destruction. He was the greatest robot on Earth, and he was currently glowing with the intensity of a dying sun. Pluto raised a hand, and the very air began to solidify into cages of magnetic force. "Stay back," Astro Boy shouted, bracing himself with his arm cannons glowing. But Popeye was already moving. He reached into his shirt, pulled out a dented can of spinach, and popped the lid with his thumb. As he swallowed the greens, his chest expanded like a bellows, and his muscles rippled and surged. "I'm strong to the finish, 'cause I eats me spinach." Popeye charged, his fist connecting with a magnetic bolt, shattering the force field into sparks. Pluto recoiled, his servos whining, but he quickly reconfigured his arm into a massive drill. Felix the cat didn't wait. He dove into his magic bag and pulled out a giant, sentient magnet. With a wink at Astro, Felix tossed it. The magnet locked onto Pluto's chest, causing the giant robot's sophisticated internal circuitry to glitch. "Now, Astro," Felix yelled. Astro Boy flew forward, his entire body becoming a living lance of light. He channeled the energy of his own core, not to destroy, but to bypass. He slammed into Pluto's chest plate, his hand finding the access port that the others had exposed. "You aren't a monster," Astro whispered, his voice steady despite the chaos. "You're just locked in a loop." Astro bypassed the combat protocols, his own benevolent AI flowing into Pluto's mainframe like a healing rain. The jagged obsidian light fatting from Pluto's eyes, replaced by a soft, amber glow. The vibrations in the earth stilled. Pluto stood frozen for a moment before collapsing to his knees, the magnetism leaving him. Popeye wiped his brow, his muscles slowly returning to normal size. "Well, that's that. A bit of the green stuff always settles the stomach and the machines." Felix pulled a stool out of his bag and sat down, smoothing his whiskers. "A bit of magic, a bit of spinach, and a whole lot of heart. Not a bad day's work for a cat, a sailor, and a boy." Astro Boy looked out over the horizon of his city, the sun beginning to rise. "The world is safe," he said softly, "but I think we might have just started a very unusual friendship." Felix chuckled, and in the morning light he didn't cast a shadow. He simply winked, and the three heroes watched the dawn together.